Hey everybody, it's Bill from Matt-Trakker.com and welcome to this episode of Behind the Mask. I'm joined by this gentleman today who appeared, I think in season 4, I forget exactly what episode, but this is Chris Sizemore, and he recently sent me a figure of myself. Right now he's sitting in the Batmobile because he fits perfect. I was showing Chris that. Sent me a figure based on a picture that Carol Wack did all these years ago, and here's the smile that I had on it, when I opened it up, like this cheese-eating grin, really. And again, I've seen, I've sent you messages, and it just means the world to me that this is a thing, like that this somehow manifested into what it is. And when I sent you the message, I was really just joking, and then you're like, just took it and ran with it. But before we talk about the figure and anything else, I'm going to have your Instagram link down in the description. Make sure you follow Chris. But so what have you been up to lately? How has life been for you? And what possessed you to take what I said and turn it into this? And I'm also glad, I'm glad you didn't go with the space build. It was close to my build, but I'm glad you tapered that down a little bit. So
yeah.
So after you, sir.
For anybody that's watching it, originally, if you look at my customs and you see my Space Ghost, I sent Bill a picture of Space Ghost and said I was going to use the same body, and Space Ghost is all ripped and cut up, and
just like me.
Never going to be the intention there. But as far as let me see. I guess last time we talked, we were in lockdown. I live in North Carolina, so we've actually come out of lockdown somewhat. As far as a lot of the restrictions have been lifted, still the mask mandate and all those fun things. But I don't care. Nobody really cares. But I'm a teacher, actually.
I care.
Yeah, I know. And we went back. My students started back, not full blast, but in September, actually, with a lot of social distancing, a lot of the masks and all those type of things. And we have lessened a lot of the restrictions as we move forward. Of course, the vaccine is a big thing now. So life is slowly returning to normal. Hopefully, next year at this time, we're back. So things are a lot better. Of course, last time we talked, it was the lockdown that kind of gave birth to the S5E19 project, because I had a lot of time on my hands. So it led to at least this part of me making customs. I had been doing customs for a long time, but just decided, to do all the 80 stuff, put them all on the same scale and all that kind of stuff. So outside of that, my gym is open back up, so I can, I'm actually able to get back there. Last time we talked, it was closed.
Yeah, my gym's still closed.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you're able to get to some sort of normalcy and where you can. Obviously, New Jersey, it's still pretty strict where we're at. We're right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Hence, the Phillies and Flyers, the sports teams that I follow. And we're getting there. My wife's a teacher too. Carol Wack's a teacher. I surround myself with teachers.
I started watching, I watched your interviews with him. I actually, you turned me on to the 85 and 86 m.a.s.k. I loved it. It's great. Yeah. So I've actually started following him on Instagram. Love the art, because it's almost like, looking at his stuff, he's done the Bionic 6. I've never heard anybody else that's a big fan of Bionic 6. I'm a diehard Bionic 6. I was like, when he, I don't remember, was it an interview or if it was one of the Talking Overtime, which, by the way, if anybody doesn't watch Talking Overtime, it's great. I love watching you two go back and forth. But him talking about Bionic 6, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So, but he's done Thundercats and a bunch of other stuff. So, I was really impressed when I started looking at all those stuff that he's done. The comics are
both of you guys do, like, both of you guys cover a wide range of items. It's really cool to see. Like, one of my favorite figures that you've done is Brave Star, which is pretty obscure. I mean, people probably remember it if you show them a picture, but it's, seeing that in that scale, the G.I. Joe scale, it's just kind of funny because he's like, oh, my light just fell. So, nothing broke, which is good. Yeah, nothing broke. But no, the scaling of it is, it's funny because it's like a 10-inch figure or whatever it is, so when you see it in that scale, you go, damn, all the adventures I could have had when I was 7, something like that. So
that scale with everything.
But I did send you an apology in advance, saying that people probably would reach out to you, whether or not it's been a lot or not. But if you can accommodate them, great. If not, it's up to you. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this, and the turnaround was pretty quick too. I'm guessing your gym's still not really that open yet.
Basically, I was actually I can't remember how. I was making Ultra Flash, Matt-Trakker, Ultra Flash, and I sent a picture to you, and you had responded. I was actually on my way to the gym then, and it really, when you mentioned, I know you mentioned it in jest, but then I looked. I was like, you know what, the design, and that's another thing I don't think people really understand about these drawings that Caro's done. A lot of the stuff on your costume is very reminiscent of the M.a.s.k agents, though. The big knee pads, your boots, the design on the boots, the armbands on your arm. I mean, all that stuff is actually very much just like M.a.s.k agents. So when I looked at it, I was like, you know what? I mean, that's no different than anything I've done so far on the M.a.s.k agents. And your mask was a whole lot less complicated, because I was actually sculpting your stuff and Ultra Flash at the same time. Ultra Flash was about a 3-day sculpt job as far and multiple hours of sculpting the mask. Yours was a 3-day job, but it was more, I was able to knock it out, I mean, relatively quickly. So
yeah, I kept getting asked what's underneath the mask, and
nothing.
Just a peg. So,
yeah.
You were like, you don't need the face, do you? I was like, nah. And that would have been really hard to make. Honestly, it would have been really hard to make look good.
I it was a head that would have worked. I didn't realize I had an extra one, and then I found it yesterday. So if we do the 2-inch, the actual mass scale version of you, then I probably will go ahead and I don't know how much it'll look exactly like you. I mean, something that handsome.
Well, look at the scaling and look at that. The way they are. They kind of look like them. As long as you find somebody with like dark brown, black hair and incredibly good looking, then you'll be good. I'm gonna fix my light here real quick just so I can actually see what's going on. I'm sorry about this in advance. The set production here is very high, and it's my work office, and this is the best way to present things. No, but I do have some extra figures, and I will send them along, and I'll send you pretty much whatever I have extra now that I have your address. So if anybody wants his address, $5. No, going back to what I was saying about, like, I was like, it kind of, when I opened it up, it was reminiscent of when Caro sent me the first picture that he did, and I was like, what happened? Why is this a thing? But I started questioning it. I'm like, what happened here? But then I was like, wow, why question it? This is awesome. And it's the same thing. I was like, why am I going to question it? You took something that really, like, out of all the stuff I've done, that picture, the description, all the stuff that's built around the sports stuff that I follow and care about, you took something that you helped carry on a memory that I'm going to have for a really long time of this really fun day at Citizens Bank Park, where my dad, brother, and I were just hanging out, and my dad put on a headband of the Fanatic, and it kind of spiraled, and that's what it came to be, and it's a really cool thing. I just hope that Caro doesn't get upset for like copyright infringement or something, on that side. But see, I don't know. I don't think he's that kind of a person, but you never know, really. Oh, who's this? Oh,
yeah, I'm Zoom bombing.
Hey.
I just set you up. I said that Kerouac is something, and then that was it. So it's a setup. I wanted to have.
I'm fantastic.
So normally we do the talking overtime stuff. Sundays, a little later. We're a little off our schedule right now, but I wanted to have you and him in the same kind of chat together, because he, like I said, you guys took a magical day I had with my dad and my brother, and then took it to where it is right now. I don't know why either of you did it, but I'm very appreciative of the fact. So, Caro, meet Chris, and Chris, meet Caro.
Hey, how you doing?
Or Brian, as he would be called.
Whatever.
In some circles, I don't know. You're both teachers. So talk about school.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love teaching during COVID and talking about school on Sunday.
Yeah, I try to avoid talking about it as much as possible when I don't have to do it.
My wife doesn't know one work story, and I've worked there for 15 years, so I don't bring it home.
Yeah. So like I said, I try. People ask me, I'm just like, hey, it's fine, and just kind of move on.
School.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. I just brought it up because you're both teachers.
It's funny.
Now you're art, right?
Yeah, I'm an art guy.
Yes, a history teacher.
Oh, that's different. That's more important.
Less important than English and math, though. So
yeah, but there's art's on the bottom. I'm like right above. I don't know if I'm above anything.
PE,
so.
Health.
Yeah, maybe PE. Not around my area.
Sure, so, every PE just clicked off.
Yeah, I'm out.
All right, so I have you both here now, and what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the inspirations that you work with. Like, Chris, you were saying before about you didn't know anybody else that like beyond Bionic 6. So whatever. How are you guys inspired to work on what you're working on? Is it just? Are you planning it out? Is it something that just kind of comes along and you just kind of take it and run with it? Because you're not just M.a.s.k people. You're all over the place, and that's not a bad thing. I'm saying it like it's a bad thing, but it's not. How do you guys figure that portion of it out on what you're going to work on? And I'll start with Chris, since I don't care about Brian. So.
Well, like I said, originally it was my favorites, and I know I've listened to Caro said it, you've said it. I'm a huge fan of Toy Galaxy. Dan Larson, he said it. I never can find a huge Thundercats fans. It's almost like it's a thing not to really like Thundercats. I'm a massive If I had to pick one, Thundercats would be my number one. G.I. Joe is just one that everyone says. I'm a massive G.I. Joe guy. And G.I. Joe, probably because you could run to the store and pick up one for like $3. Thundercats were a little more expensive and there weren't as many characters. But I mean, I'm a huge Thundercat guy. So it just simply started out with who are my favorites? Bionic 6, Thundercats. G.I. Joe already has a great run with the 25th line and then the 30th. And then, so I didn't have to make a lot of them. Cops, I'm a huge Cops fan. A lot of people aren't. I don't hear that one brought up a lot. M.a.s.k, and I'll say this from M.a.s.k fans, and Caro's probably experienced this too. Probably the most supportive fan group is M.a.s.k. I mean, you do anything M.a.s.k related, and M.a.s.k fans go crazy. You do something Thundercat related, and they're like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I think last time we talked, I only made He-Man maybe. Now I've made a lot of the Masters of the Universe. But of course, you can go to Walmart right now. There's Masters of the Universe on the shelves. I think what it is for M.a.s.k is the fact that you don't have anything. There hasn't been anything. So you do anything M.a.s.k related, and people just lose their minds. You do. We brought Brave Star, Bionic 6. People are like, oh, I think I remember that. I mean, so while there hadn't been anything done for them either, they were very. I think Caro, I can't remember again which it was, but he mentioned basically if it's locked in its year, and he's right. Bionic 6 never got out of one season. Centurions, which I absolutely love Centurions, never got out of its one season. He's 100% right. Anything that's locked into the year of its creation and never escaped it, people tend, unless you lived during that year and really bought the toys and watched the cartoon, people forget about them. M.a.s.k, even though I know the racing season is not a big thing, M.a.s.k at least escaped 1 year. I still don't think, and a lot of people do, I think you two discussed this, the different tiers of the 80s cartoons. Mm-hmm. I think it's always Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Transformers. I'm not a big Transformers guy, by the way. They're the top three. To me, Thundercats gets a second tier kind of alone. And then M.a.s.k is above, in my opinion, Bionic 6, Centurions and stuff. But mine has just come from a love of all the 80s cartoons and toys I had as a kid. And like I said, I was drawn to Caro's stuff. Because, I started looking at your stuff, and I was like, oh, my God, he's drawing all the stuff I love. It was honestly like, okay, it was as if one of us looked at the other's Instagram and just said, I'm going to make toys of stuff he's drawing. I'm going to draw stuff of this.
Oh, that's how it's done. Okay.
That's how it's done, yeah.
Well, right now, Caro, or Brian, Caro, I'm sorry. I'll call
whatever.
You. Yeah. You just did something that was pretty interesting with that McDonald's picture that you did. And
I saw that.
So, like, where did that come from?
I was like, I don't know. I was thinking the other day, somebody brought up the old McDonald's playgrounds, and I'm like, oh my God, we used to go crazy on those. My mom and aunt would meet up for like 3 hours, and we would just go nuts and like run that place like, like kings. Like we were on top of the Big Mac jail cell for like hours, and other kids tried to get up. They were just shoved to the bottom of the pile. We were like the wild kids. But I was like, all those other characters just never got out of, my child. I know there's a story behind why McDonald's doesn't use those characters, but I was like, man, it sucks that only Ronald survived. And I'm like, well, maybe Ronald survived because he survived like a Hunger Games style competition, and where everybody else was murdered in the process. I don't know.
It's a strong possibility.
It was the only thing that made sense. I had to write the canon in my head.
Is that your next comic?
Yeah, the McHunger Games. I'm going to start it, very innocently.
As long as it's not the next food fight.
No, you know what? Can I just say this? Chris is the only person who's done anything Bionic 6 on the internet in like the last 2 years, except for my couple of cartoons I did. I'm like the biggest Bionic 6 fan, and like nobody even remembers they exist. Like they're just like the bottom of the barrel of people's memories.
If people would watch the cartoon is so good.
It is.
The animation, Scarab is hilarious. I think it was just so far ahead of its time. Terrific.
If that cartoon had been able to release 2 years earlier, I think it would have been a hit. I feel like everything after 85 kind of like got swallowed by video games. Like, because there's no toy line outside of Ninja Turtles after 85 that really, like, if it wasn't running already, I felt like Captain Power,
it's a good
blanking, Centurions, Bionic 6. Like, there's a lot of, like, Air Raiders, Starcom. There's a lot of, like, awesome toy properties, Cops, that didn't...
Food
Fighters. Like, they by that point, Nintendo was already running all over the place wild, and, like, if you didn't have a head of steam going, you were just done.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bionic 6 would have been, like, hot in, like, 85. It's just so good. They missed it by a year or two.
So, we talked about this a little bit, whether it was on camera or off. Like some of the cartoons, like Rewatch Factor, I can't watch the old Masters cartoon. I can't. It's so corny. I've tried repeatedly, and there's other cartoons that I've tried to watch, and I know people are going to say like, something along those lines like, oh, you're not a true fan. That's fine, but there's something about it where I can't get back into it. Thundercats, even though I'm not a huge fan of it, it translates still. I think
it does.
I don't remember Bionic 6 that much. I had some of the figures when I was younger. I haven't rewatched the cartoon at all, but there's that element of it where M.a.s.k has a good rewatch factor. There's corniness in it for sure, but there's still something about it that it has a good allure to it, and that's the most perplexing thing is where's everything at and why isn't it back yet, etc. I don't know, and as you pointed out, Chris, anything new that's anything M.a.s.k related, which is few and far between. I mean, the last official thing was those MicroMasters that are inspired by M.a.s.k. And I pre-ordered those things back in October when they came out on Amazon, and like it's a sad state of affairs when that's what we have to go with. But luckily, there's people like you that are creating figures and showing those the action shots of them and showing them with all the other 80s characters, and 90s characters wherever they're going to be. You're showing them all together in that same scale, and Brian's work, 2 comic series and all the other the one-off series that he's done, and without those types of contributions, I don't know where M.a.s.k would be right now. It's such a hard thing to really think about. It's been a long time that I've been trying to convince anybody that has a corporate backing to do something with this stuff. And as I was saying to you earlier, Chris, like the gesture of making this figure, even though I said, hey, if you want a challenge and make me look good, and then you did. These little things like this, like this is what keeps me going. Like with this is what really drives me forward is the community itself. While you are, both of you, as I said, you're able to work on different elements, different franchises. You're a huge part of the M.a.s.k community, and it's a community that, as you said, Chris, like you're talking about it, you're showing something, and there's a lot of support behind it. And it's, again, I just appreciate it so much. And I know how much just, this kind of things take time. And and my wife was very impressed by your Phantom figure. So my wife's still waiting to see your work on Daria, Brian. So,
oh my God, I have it. I do have it someplace.
Yeah, sure. Is it back there with the Rocketeer?
Yeah, no, it's not back with the Rocketeer. He's staring a hole right into you. I got a question for Chris. Can I ask a question?
No, we're out of time.
Well, next lifetime. What is the cheapest modern G.I. Joe figure to buy? Because you have to be scouring like eBay for them, because I think those are like the bases you use, right?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, is there one you're like, oh, nobody buys that guy, I'll just buy as many of him as I can?
Ooh.
Not now. Used to, you could get them pretty cheap. I don't. A lot of times, a lot of the Rise of Cobra figures from the movie.
Oh, that's the way to go. The Rise of Cobra figures.
Some of them. I don't want to talk about some of the the prices I paid for some of them, just because the parts would work well. I had to buy a General Hawk figure for Matt Ultra Flash. I just needed it just to get his arms. I paid like $30 to get that.
See, no one thinks about that. When I see the custom, I'm like, what did he use? Where did he grab them? Did he find a big like batch on like Facebook Marketplace, or like does he have to,
Well, originally I had tons of what I call like just fodder sitting around of figures. I was like, I'm not going to use these. And I made a lot of the cops and m.a.s.k originally from that. The issue with that is you take the arms off one, you take the the torso off one, the upper legs off one, the lower legs off one, and suddenly you got parts lying around, but you can't really use them anymore. And now I'm to the point where it's like, oh, okay, well, what do I need? And you start looking, you're like, okay, that would work perfectly. And then you check eBay, you're like, God, really?
Yeah, see, I'm thinking, I'm like, he's using those bucks, but I don't know if they're like cheap. I don't know where he's getting them.
No, and a lot of times it's sculpt, like Bill's figure is all the detailing on the chest is all sculpt. The knee pads are sculpt. The arm bands are sculpt. Things hanging off the sides, that's sculpt. So I can save myself some money. I say that, I mean, the sculpt's not cheap either. But a lot of it is just sculpting. Like I'm working on Floyd. I've just barely gotten started on him, but I don't know if you can see. This is going to be Floyd. So the torso figure, the upper arms are from one figure, the lower arms are from another G.I. Joe. They're all G.I. Joes though. And then the upper and lower legs.
And you're just hitting that. You're like sculpting the gray like cuffs on.
No, that comes from a Duke. I've got to sculpt all of it. He's put together. I've got to start sculpting everything, all the other details now. So the lower arms are from a Duke, upper arms are from a Black Cobra Commander. The body is from a Rise of Cobra Trooper, and then I can't remember who the upper and lower legs are from, but that's about 6 different figures.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I've got Nash I'm working on. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, I got it. You have the pockets.
Yeah, no sculpt, no paint yet. I've got to sculpt all the details on him still to come. So I've got m.a.s.k. I know we were going to talk about that, but as far as m.a.s.k. goes, I want to make Bruno, Julio, Floyd, Nash, and dang it, what's his name? Bullet, his driver. His name escapes me.
Just make sure you make enough for everybody.
Oh yeah, I am. Yeah, Bombay, that's who it is. Yeah, I'm making.
Please.
Yeah. So, but that's who's coming m.a.s.k. Still.
It's awesome.
Yeah, as far as the bodies, no. I wish I could find a big lot of cheap parts. So
I'll keep my eye out for you if I see something.
I appreciate it.
When you bring up the question or the point about parts, I'm looking for one part in particular for m.a.s.k, and I'm not going to say what it is because it's so damn hard to find. And when I found it, it's like $80 for this one part. It's not a big detail of anything, but I needed to complete something, and that's not the way I collect. Like I'm looking at it and I go, maybe next time type thing. You're thinking about parts and you're thinking about, like, you might be buying parts from other customizers like that don't have use for those parts. So you're thinking about what they paid up front, and then they've gotten use out of something, and then you're buying it. That could be a possibility too. All the time, all the waiting, all the imagination you have to put in to figure out the best way to craft that figure. I know, Brian, like when you're working with your tablet, with whatever you're going to be drawing. I know
I feel like I have it easier than that.
Yeah,
it's in my head, and then I just go, oh, I'll do this, and then I just draw.
But you obviously have some time where you're, experimenting with something or looking at, you probably had, tons of stuff where you scrapped it in between.
Yeah, I have so many drawings that are just sitting in the tablet that I just never got back to.
I was kind of curious, like with Chris, like how often do you work on something and you just scrap it? Like, do you experiment? Do you have it really thought out, or do you just kind of like, oh, let me tear it down and start over?
As far as the custom goes?
Yeah.
Well, I'm on my current Lion-O is my favorite '80s character. It'd be really close between him and Flint from G.I. Joe. I'm on my fourth Lion-O actually because I want him to be perfect, and I can't get it perfect. So he's currently torn apart, sitting on my desk right now. I'm redoing Panthro too because Panthro is my second favorite Thundercat. But often it's only like I've looked at my Bionic 6 and now I look back and I go, you know, I think I could do them better. But each of those base bodies runs me about $20. So I could do them better, but I don't think I'm going to do them $120 better and then put the time into do all this stuff. So yeah.
That's the hardest part, I think, about doing anything like what you're doing is the minute you get the hang of it, you look back at the thing you did first and you're like, oh my God, I got to do it over again. Because like I look at like old stuff from like even 3-4 years ago and I'm like, I don't even want to look at it.
Well, you talk about m.a.s.k. 85 that way too sometimes. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. I can't look at it because I see all the flaws and the things that I learned in the process, and now I want to do it over, but I also don't want to spend the time to do it over.
See, I heard you mention that, and I went and looked at 85, and I guess it's the same way with anyone who creates something. Like, I'll show a figure I made a year ago, and somebody will look at it and be like, no, it's still good. I'm like, but it's not as good as this one that I just did. Look how much better.
So many
technical difficulties. 85 and 86, I thought they were both great. But I know in the interview with Bill that you said that you can't stand to look at m.a.s.k. 85. That
I can't. There's like a few pictures I can look at, and the rest I'm just like, ugh.
I guess that's everybody when they create something. They just in their mind like I could do better.
Yep.
Do you think that with your kids, Brian?
No, I nailed them from the first shot. Although to be fair, it was a lot. There was a lot of time spent creating them. So.
I was talking to my parents the other day, and I sent them a picture. They're like, "Where's ours at?" I was like, "What the hell you mean? Where's yours at?" It's not like they actually wanted they wanted a printout of the picture that you made, Brian, and you know I did it.
Okay.
I don't know. I
gotta turn your parents into mask agents?
No, that's not what I'm asking or saying. But they're like, where's mine at? They like the fact that something that they bought when I was 5 is doing something now where it's not as popular as everything else in front of it. They're happy with the fact that something had that kind of an impact, growing up. And what it's done is create these type of friendships here where I talk with you almost every day, Brian, and Chris. As we've gotten to chat more, I consider you a friend, even though I don't know if I'm ever going to get to North Carolina, but they're really happy about that aspect of and they're hopeful too. They want to see something come back too, because they actually like the cartoon. I know it's kind of weird, but they actually enjoyed watching it when I would watch it. They're like, "Well, where's my figure?" I was like, "What are you talking about? It's not mass produced. It's like somebody spent time to sculpt the damn thing. It's like, it's not. I can't. Here, I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it to you. Like, that's all I can offer. I'm not asking you to make more either. I just thought it was funny. Like, they're like, "Where's mine?" I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? I didn't make it. I can't."
You should really get to North Carolina.
Yeah,
North Carolina is awesome.
I enjoy it. I've been all over the United States, and I like North Carolina the best of all of them. I guess I'm a little biased, but I mean, I wasn't born here either, so I actually chose to live here. So
when I'm there, it's like Long Island, but it's like Long Island if we had nice weather more often than we do.
You don't like all the snow this year?
I'm good.
Man. Well, I have to I still have to figure out a place where I'm going to put this. And right now, behind me, I can never do this right. Here is where the two trackers are, the IDW and then the GI Joe version. So I'm thinking over there, but I don't know. He doesn't fit on the shelf here. He's too tall. He's like a quarter inch too tall. So you failed there, Chris. I can have him sit, but that'll take
time to go back to eBay to see for more parts.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
So I'm gonna figure out. I gotta figure out a spot for him. I'm gonna display him prominently. I'll probably put him over there. All right, what do you think? I'll leave it up to you.
I don't know. I'm not overly impressed with those two trackers. I mean, I was when I originally saw the 25th, but then once you go back and you really look at it, he doesn't. And you did this in your tier list. He doesn't really resemble. I mean, you can tell who it is, but it's not a great rendition. And I've never read any IDW comic books, so I don't know how accurate that tracker actually is. But he's not my Matt-Trakker because my Matt-Trakker is stuck in the 80s. So
he's trapped.
Yeah. And that's true of anything. I know in your interview that y'all did, you were talking about how now they changed a lot of the characters in the IDW comic books. And I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, I'm not reading that because no, that's not my mask. And you said that perfectly, when you talked about it. That's not my characters. They could reboot. They rebooted Thundercats in 2011. I enjoyed it. I bought the toys. That's not my Thundercats. So if they were to reboot M.a.s.k right now or anything else, I mean, it's still not, unless it was an exact, 80s reboot.
I wish the IDW stuff was successful, even if it wasn't for me, just because maybe the stuff that I like would have come back along with it. Some kind of Legends line or something along those lines. But it just flopped so hard. 2011 Thundercats. Did that even get a finale? I think it ended on the cliffhanger.
I don't know on that one. Chris might have froze.
Is Chris frozen, or is he just really thinking? He's either deep in thought about the last thing I said. Hey, he moved. There he is. There he's back.
He was so deep.
I was like, did I just lose connection to them? I went down. Sorry.
Yeah, you're just so stoic in your thought.
Lost in thought. You got frozen in a good spot, though. If I would have got frozen, it would have been like...
No, I looked and I was like, why did they quit talking for? So I'm sorry, I missed it.
I said 2011 Thundercats ended on a cliffhanger, so I don't think they ever wrapped that show up.
I thought it was great. I actually liked the reboot. Again, just not my Thundercats. The Super 7 line, which I now have tons of money tied up in pre-orders.
Are you doing the Thunder Tank? You're doing the Thunder Tank, right?
I'm going to, yes.
You have to if you're a Thundercats guy. I feel like you have to.
So I'm going to grab the Thunder Tank. We won't talk about the price of it. Anybody who's watching this, if you already know what the price is. So.
I guessed it. 3 days earlier. That thing's $450, right on the head.
I was hoping more like $3.
I just Super 7. The prices are always,
Yeah. The figures are 40, 45 a piece.
That's why I don't have any, because I did the math. It would be $1,000 for me to get the Thundercats I want. And I'm like, that just seems like a lot when you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's not my thing. I kind of like them.
Oh, I remember in your Bill, in your interview with Retro Blasting, he mentioned, I know it's a while back. So I'm pretty. In the Retro Blasting, I brought up that where he said that if the figures were made, that without the vehicles, that it wouldn't be. Yeah, they
wouldn't.
No, I agree. Yeah, you need it.
And I do. I think the vehicles are what push the line. But I would buy the figures, obviously.
The Thunder Tank almost had me jump in, and then I did the math, and I was like, oh, my God, that's a deep pool.
Yeah.
I never thought of the fact, hey, if they came out with a whole new line, which I will buy somehow, or re-release or reaction, etc. I never thought of what I'd have to put into that.
Reaction would be the cheapest option, I think.
I'm kind of glad I'm thinking of it now. So I'll start saving little by little to be able to afford that. But I don't know if you would have something similar along the lines of Super 7 or another type of company where if they're going to be, let's say, pushing out one of the lines, like I know that Super 7 does a couple different variations of their figures. If they did a reaction line of the figures, I own every one of them, and that shouldn't cost that much. Whatever they put out, but
I think with M.a.s.k, I'm all in. Even if I have to sell stuff.
No, I mean, like literally, they could. There's little smaller things too. They sometimes put out in some of their lines. I don't own it all.
If they had a $450 Thunderhawk, are you buying it? That's the question right there. Because I'm gonna, even if I have to sell $450 of GI Joes, whatever.
Well, I'm proud of that answer, because all the other lines that have had continuation keep coming out, like Masters, etc. So that's a good sacrifice you're going to make there. But
I would hope for 450 it'd be Rhino though.
Yeah, you would hope, right?
Yeah.
If I'm spending $450 on one M.a.s.k item, which I haven't done even on everything in this room, not like one individual item, I'd have to do some serious convincing of the misses on that. $450 Thunderhawk though,
I think they'd keep them reaction scale, so that might be a little cheaper.
If that was the only thing they made,
I don't think a M.a.s.k line can be 6 inches with the vehicles. That just, I guess I could be wrong. Thundercats does it, but He-Man does it, but they're also, I don't know.
The vehicles are a little more sparse. The point that Chris brought up is when we talked about, getting the figures, would it be, they need to have the vehicles to be complete, quote unquote. And everyone has a vehicle, even that's part of it too. It's the GI Joe line, the Masters, Thundercats, etc. There's vehicles, but they're not everybody has one. So it's hard. It's a hard sell when you're thinking about relaunching something, and that might be part of the fundamental problem with everything too. With it, is that everybody has a vehicle, but maybe that's one of the things that's holding people up on this. Is that
guaranteed figures are easy to make. You can share bucks, you can share parts, but with a vehicle, the M.a.s.k vehicles are all unique. There's no repeating them,
I just think that they could have done figures by now. Anybody could have. And later on, you make, if you want to release the vehicles, you release them separately, but they fit the scale of the figure that you release. You don't release a 2-inch figure and then you release a 6-inch scale of Thunderhawk. You don't go through that. You have to. It's got to mirror and match everything the way you're, whatever elements.
Chris even got Thundercats Raw, and we got nothing.
Yeah,
he probably marathon that show.
I did not watch that at all. That was anything that's an abomination, in my opinion, to the '80s stuff. I try to stay away from.
It wasn't that bad, an abomination. It's different, but my daughter liked it, so I dealt with it.
Yeah, see, I didn't. I never gave it a chance, but once I saw the drawings, I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah, you got to go into it with a really open mind. You can't go into it like, oh, here comes Thundercats.
Yeah, so I stayed away from that.
Yeah. See, these Thundercats fans are so spoiled. They can choose not to watch Thundercats related stuff.
That's what it is. Yeah. Of course, I like Silverhawk, Tiger Sharks too. So.
You know what weird show I just watched not too long ago? the Mighty Ducks cartoon.
Ugh.
I know that.
You have the the ducks with they're with people bodies, and they're like crime fighters or something based off of the franchise, and based off the hockey franchise, based off the movie. I was like,
that seems like a miss.
Oh,
it's a huge miss.
I had some of the figures. I don't have them anymore. I had them when I was younger. But I was watching it. I'm going, man, this is that's got to be a wheel topic. Is like the rewatch factor of some of these older cartoons, which we touched on for a minute or so earlier. But I was just like, can't really watch this. I just hope Liam doesn't come across it and go, I want to watch this. Like, can't we just watch? Can't we just watch something else? Like,
no, kids will drag you into the weirdest places. You had no idea a show existed, and now all I watch is Barbie's Dream House. So I'd kill for Thundercats roar again.
Yeah,
that's a good show. It's got a lot of depth to it. Really drawn out storylines. I don't know. I was trying to make it palatable for you.
Hey, stop bashing Barbie's Dream House. I've grown to love it. No.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Well, I don't think you're missing out on that.
No, Chris. No, unless you have a kid that's going to drag you into it.
Yeah.
That's his next figure now too. He's going to make a 4-inch scale Barbie.
He's going to make the Barbie and a Mighty Ducks.
Jim is planned.
Oh, he's got Gem.
She's playing. She's the parts are actually sitting on my desk right here beside me. So she'll be out probably next month or so.
Go for the Misfits. They were way better.
That's what everybody says. A buddy of mine is like, you got to make Misfits too. I'm like,
the Misfits were the best part of that show.
I honestly haven't seen the show in years.
I just remember we are the Misfits. We are something. I don't even remember it.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
You sell that on iTunes.
Yeah, I'll make a cover.
Well, I have to wrap this up for now. I have to go cut a door. So it's very exciting.
Good stuff.
I'm probably going to end up cutting my arm off. So if this is the last time I do this, it was a true honor to be on a call with two people that literally, like I said, took a day out at a ballpark and made it something that's not just going to be a memory that might fade away, but still a fond memory. You made it a memory that's going to last forever for me. And for that, I'll always be eternally grateful. And before we end the section here, Chris, you mentioned a couple of figures that you're working on, and you have gem and parts there, like I guess like Jigsaw right now. You're, it's you got to put it back together. What are there any other figures you're working on that some of your followers might get a kick out of?
Well, if anybody like the cartoon Thundar, I've made Thundar. Ukla and Ariel are coming.
Okay.
Black Star is another one that is a very kind of niche cartoon, but I've got
that's awesome.
Yeah, Clone, Mara, and Overlord are all planned. I'm looking at the ones that are sitting over here. I'm going to make Ghost Jaga. I've already made Jaga through the astral form. Look at the ones that actually I've got the parts all laid out for. Oh, I don't know if anybody's looked at my Instagram, but I did Force of Freedom, Rambo.
Yeah.
I've got Savage planned. So I've made Warhawk, but I've got Gripper and Nomad and.
You did the girl too, right? Co or Kit or whatever they called her.
Yeah, Cat. I did.
Cat.
The good guys, the bad guys, all the parts are laid out and planned. And I'm going to take a shot at Dirk Courage, great name, from Spiral Zone.
Oh, I thought that was from Dirk. Oh, I'm thinking of Dirk the Daring from that video game.
Oh, I never watched Spiral Zone, but Spiral Zone and Galaxy Rangers gets requested a lot, and I didn't watch either one of those cartoons growing up, but they get requested pretty much nonstop.
All the time. Same thing with me, and I draw like a lot of obscure things, and people are like, "What about Spiral Zone?" I've never seen it in my life.
Yeah,
I knew
you must be hearing from the same exact people. Yes. You have to be, because they're killing me for Spiral Zone.
Yes. Do you get Galaxy Rangers? Anybody bring
yes, that's always the next one.
Yeah, I'm
I've
not.
heard I've at least heard of that. I never heard of spirals.
No,
and they love it.
yeah, apparently there are massive fans out there of it. So I'm going to at least take a shot at the leader. I get his name was Dirk Courage. Again, I'm not trying to insult him. Somebody can be like, yeah, you want Spirals on, you watch Thundercats. I'm like, it's not an insult. I just,
Yeah, no, I don't know what it is.
You only had so much time as a kid to be into all the different things. So, but now I never watched Inhumanoids growing up, and I did make the Earth Corp from that after a lot of people had requested them. So, like I said, I'm gonna take a shot at it. Now I make little things myself. Like I've got I don't know if either one of you ever had, probably Brian. I think you're a little bit younger, but the Mighty Crusaders from Archie Comics.
I know them. I never had any.
Yeah, I had the whole toy line growing up, but I made a couple of them, Fox and Shield. And
They looked like He-Man, kind of, right? A little bit.
They were short and stocky, just like that. Yep. And I've got Web planned. So, but and of course I may come back to Masters of the Universe. They seem to be really popular. Of course, every time I make, I don't know how PG this is, but I mean, I made Fisto, and of course I made, Buddy. No, not Buddy. Yeah, Buddy. Penetrator mask, and of course that's a nonstop joke right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get
it. Well,
put it on the wheel next time. I'll explain it.
There you go. That'd be perfect. I want that on the wheel next time.
Oh wait, so is that an official request for the wheel?
That's the one. Fisto, and Penetrator. The '80s great shame.
If you're taking requests for the wheel, because I've told you I'm a huge fan of talking overtime. Please put like Cops and Bionic 6. So put some of the lesser known. I know y'all have done theme songs.
I love Cops.
Yeah, put some of the lesser '80s, the different tier, like lower ones, like Cops, like Bionic 6, stuff like that on there. I'd love to hear you two discuss that kind of stuff.
Yes,
I know all about Cops. I'm good.
Oh, excellent.
Hopefully it'll actually hit though. I mean, there's still some on there that we've had from like I think the initial.
Yeah,
they've been rotting since day one.
Yeah, it took you like 18 episodes to get to. I know you're not been in 18, but like to get to Mandalorian finally. So.
Yep. Yeah, it was
That's
like
true.
7 weeks past its end.
Yeah.
Of season 2, but no, that's just the wheel. The wheel dictates a lot. It's just what it is. But Brian, we have to record that soon. We're about a week off right now.
Nah,
but it was
the 12 people who pay attention can wait.
Some catch up work that had to be done on some other videos, but it's like I said, I appreciate the time. It's a beautiful Sunday, at least where I'm at here. I don't know how it is up with you're at, Brian, and down where you're at, Chris, but I'm gonna get outside. I'm gonna cut a door, get a frame. That's going to be the next topic too on the wheel. How to properly cut door frames to fit in mitigated areas in your house. It's going to be a great topic to really talk about.
I'm into it.
I don't know if that's going to get less likes than when I talk about hockey with like Doug Stone or anybody like that. But
nobody likes hockey.
I do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. No, most people don't like
this. This is over. Fingers going in the trash.
Bye.
No, but I appreciate the time and I appreciate the sentiment that you guys have shown. And Chris, we're gonna keep following you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you do awesome stuff, man.
Thank you.
And
so do you. Big fan of your artwork.
Thank you.
So for Chris, Ryan Kerouac, or Kristen Ann, as he's known on Zoom.
Hey, I've got a man of many names.
I'm Bill, and please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to help keep M.a.s.k alive. And we'll talk to you later.